Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5. The members of Group 5 are Shintia, Qorina, Darojat, Siska, Septia, Maulida, and Siti Maemunah. Here we would like to tell you about popular methology. This chapter looks at how theory has been realized in methodological practice. First is approach. This refers to theories about the nature of language and language teaching. So, it describes how language is used and how its constituent parts interlock. The second is method. Methods include various procedures and techniques as part for their standard fares. The third is procedure. Procedure is an ordered sequence of technique. The fourth is technique. Technique is the level of which classroom procedures are described. And the last is model. Model is used to describe typical procedure or sets of procedures, usually for teachers in training. And the next material is about audiolinguism. It owes its existence to the behaviorist models of learning. It relies heavily on reels to form these habits. For the example is, teacher says, I have a book. So the student repeat what teacher said. I have a book. It's like repeating from the teacher. And the next material is PPP, or presentation, practice, and production. In this procedure, the teacher introduces a situation which contextualizes the language to be taught. For the example is presentation. The teacher shows the following picture and asks them about the picture. And the teacher said, "What is he doing?" The teacher asks about people on the picture. And he said, he is swimming. And the next is practice. The teacher gets the students to repeat the sentence and corrects any mistakes that hear. The teacher asks to the student, "What is he doing?" And the student answers to the teacher, "He is swimming." If there is some mistake, the teacher corrects them. The last is production. The students are asked to use the language in sentence of their own. In this production, the students are asked to make a sentence. The next material is PPP and alternative PPP. Students don't focus on language contraction or practice particular language patterns, but also their full language knowledge in the selected situation or task. Here there are some methods. The first is ARC. It's one way to describe three possible stages of a class. It stands for authentic use, restricted use, and clarification and focus. Authentic use might be a conversation stage that is designed to include the language that learners should practice. Restricted use could be a gainful exercise on the language. Clarification and explanation of rules on the board. The next is ESI. It stands for engage, study, and active. Engage gets the students thinking and using English. Study the main language point. Active, students use any or all of their skill as well as the main language point in activities that focus more on fluency than accuracy. Next is OHE. It stands for observation, hypothesizing, and experimenting. Observation is not just a case of receiving language input, but also submitting it to critical examination. Hypothesizing and experimenting stage involve activities such as identifying, sorting, and matching, and their aim is to encourage curiosity about language and among learners.
Wabarakatuh. Hello guys, my name is Shintia Darojat. I'm gonna explain the next material about popular methodology. The first is The communicative approach. The communicative approach stresses the significance of language function rather than focusing solely on grammar and vocabulary. A guiding principle was to train students to use these language forms appropriately in a variety of contexts and for a variety of purposes. In activities, students should have a desire to communicate something. They should have a purpose for communicating. They should be focused on the content of what they are saying or writing rather than on a particular language form. They should use a variety of language rather than just one language structure. Next, task-based learning. Task-based learning, or TEFL, is a teaching approach which focuses on the students by asking to do meaningful activities or tasks. Students are given a task to perform, and only when the task has been completed does the teacher discuss the language that was used, making correction and adjustment which the student performance of the task has shown to be desirable. The framework of TEFL. In the pre-task, the teacher explores the topic with the class, helps students to understand instruction and prepare for the task. The students may hear a recording of other people doing the same task. During the task cycle, the students complete the tasks in pairs or small groups while teacher monitors progress. And the students then plan. Students prepare to report back to the class how they completed the task and what they decided or discovered. And they then report. Group present reports to the class or exchange written reports and compare results. In the language focus stage, the students examine and discuss specific features. In practice, the teacher may conduct some form of practice of specific language features which the task has proposed. The last is four methods. Four methods developed in the 1970s and 1980s have had a considerable impact upon language teaching, even if they are rarely used exclusively in mainstream teaching. The first is community language learning. CLL is a language teaching approach in which students work together to develop what aspect of a language they would like to learn. It is based on the counseling approach in which the teacher acts as a counselor. The second is the silent way. Learners should discover or create rather than remember and repeat. And use of visual devices as associative mediators for learning and recall. Use problem-solving approach to learning. The third is Suggestopedia. Suggestopedia sees the physical surroundings and atmosphere of the classroom as of vital importance, ensuring that the students are comfortable, confident, and relaxed. The affective filter is lower, thus enhancing learning. And the fourth is total physical response. Using comprehension approach, the lower the stress, the greater the learning. In the classroom, the teacher plays the role of parent.
And next material about humanistic teaching. Humanistic teaching is a method of approach in teaching foreign languages between teacher and student by pairing materials with students' real life to make a fun class, make a fun situation, and make a good feelings of student. This is the example in grammar. Students are given the task of practicing the words was and were for making a sentence that has the contents of their most memorable life experiences.
This method will be very fun for students feeling because the topic most favored by humans in general is to talk about their own lives. Next, about lexical approach. Lexical approach was created by Marshall Lewis in 1993 and carried out by teachers in teaching foreign languages by not prioritizing grammar and focusing on some content such as chunk, idioms, collocation, and fixed phrases. So we should be able to translate text phrases, not words. Therefore, this method is considered easier. For the example in translating text, the teacher gives the task to translate the text. National monument, comma, is in the center of, comma, Merdeka Square. Okay, the text has been grouped using comma to translate the text. And the last about method and culture. We have to know what the connection between method and culture. For the example, when the teacher came from British teaching in America, the teacher expressed his opinion in the class about the use of the word between costly and expensive. When there was student who felt that it was different with the things he practiced in using the word in his environment, even though the student says, "Well, you are my teacher. Of course you are right." Instead of succumbing, the teacher will refuse and try to keep him consistently in his opinion, as long as it's true, and give him appreciation because he was active in the class. Different when he teaches in Indonesia. He thinks that his students has nothing to say, even though it is not because they are not active, but they have a culture that considers refusing teachers is being rude. Okay, from the example, we can know about teaching methods must be chosen based on conformity with the socio-cultural views of the people, or we have to see or we have to look their social-cultural.
And the last matter is making choice. It is extremely difficult to come to conclusion about which approach and methods are best or most appropriate for our own teaching situation. But if we and our students constantly monitor our classes and adjust what we do accordingly, there is a really good chance that the methods and the technique we use will be the best for the class we teach. Maybe those from us, and thank you very much for your nice intention. And the last we say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.